go. I think I have to go live too. So make sure we pay attention. No, maybe not. Maybe I'm live already. Good luck. Yes, I am. Welcome back to another episode of Market Buzz. Today, it's an interesting day. Market sitting at all-time highs, and everybody is trying to FOMO here. People are freaking out. NVIDIA sitting at all-time highs. Trump is on the offensive, or is it really? We're going to find out in today's episode of Market Buzz. And if you stay till the end, you'll figure out what I'm doing with my NVIDIA position, which I told you guys to buy at $96. And right now it's sitting at all-time highs of $164. So welcome to another episode of Market Buzz. I'm trying a new setup, so we'll see how everything goes. I'm not expecting everything to work just dandy, but it's going to be an interesting episode, so stay tuned. And any questions you have, don't forget to leave them in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer any questions and give you any insights using my data and my information. All right. So, first things first. This week in markets was a very, very interesting week so far. We are seeing software and semiconductors lead the rally. Even Boeing is up as some new information comes out. But yeah, markets are risk on, it feels, not only in the stock market, but in crypto markets as well. So that's going to be an interesting one to be paying attention to, because we have to see what happens. Will Bitcoin reach 120? Mimi doesn't seem to think so. Hopefully we can get her perspective in the next episode, or maybe, a pop-up episode would be fantastic to do. But yeah, I mean, NVIDIA sitting at all-time highs. It's a beautiful, beautiful chart, to say the least. We are seeing just insanity, right? We saw that panic, people freaking out, and the reality was that there was nothing to freak out about. Chip sales were increasing, and China sales were not affecting the market as everybody thought they were. So, interesting times. Interesting times. The cryptocurrency market sitting at 110. We touched 112 yesterday, which was all-time highs as well. And to say the least, market's euphoric right now. I mean, we're expecting everything to work out. Do I think everything's going to work out? I hope so, but I am taking some risk off the table. And don't be afraid to take risk off the table, because in moments like this is when you get greedy, and I don't mind making a little bit of less money to be able to buy at lower levels if it happens. And if it doesn't, fantastic. I can always rebuy again, right? One of the things that was spooking markets today, this week was, first let me talk about the Bitcoin rally. So we saw Bitcoin touch 112 right here. This was the break. And it was fantastic. I mean, Bitcoin continues to find people that buy it, and I like the king of crypto, and that's Bitcoin. Everything else seems to be finding a footing. Again, we're risk on sentiment in every single part of the market. In some parts, no. And those are the things I want to talk about and what's on my desk right now, which I want to touch on. JP Morgan, Google, and potentially a little bit of the Mag 7s. Talk about how they are handling this current market environment and what will happen in the earnings seasons that is coming up. But first things first, let's talk about Trump, and let's talk about what he did. So if we go to Truth Social, we can see that Trump actually had a bunch of letters to send out to sovereign nations. He tweets a lot, or he truths a lot in this case, but he sent a couple of interesting ones. Definitely paying attention to this, because we are getting an idea of what's going to happen in the markets based on this, and what's the range of tariffs that we're going to be seeing. We saw some countries getting around 20%, and some countries getting 10%, and some countries getting above 35%. My range for future tariffs, depending on the country and how united they are with the states and how open they have their borders with American companies, we would see the Americans potentially go for the lower bound, which is around 10% tariffs. Is that something that freaks me out? Really? No, right? But some other countries are getting the short end of the stick, and that's 30 to 35%. Those start to worry me a little bit. But then we saw today that, well, actually yesterday after the market closed, that he was aiming for 50% in Brazil, right? So the countries that are trying to take American sovereignty away are getting punished almost, and he's using tariffs again. Now, the big question here goes, is he trying to just extend the tariff deadlines, giving everybody a month before this gets implemented, try to get more deals, try to get everything in between, or is he being more aggressive now that markets is sitting at all-time highs? Because that's something that gives him a lot of leverage. The fact that the markets aren't collapsing means that he's able to become a little bit more unpredictable in markets, and the volatility is here to stay. I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm in the camp that he's trying to just extend. That's why the market doesn't care, and that's why we're sitting at all-time highs, with the S&P 500 sitting at all-time highs and the NASDAQ sitting at all-time highs as well, right? The market just doesn't believe Trump anymore, and that's a dangerous thing. That's a dangerous thing, because when we actually believe him, could be another black swan event like the one that we saw at the start of the year, when he came into power, and we could see massive volatility as the market just spooks. But inflation is steady, jobs are steady, and the market is steady. You know, oil prices are low, risk assets are up. What else can you ask for, right? But yeah, interestingly enough, today we are getting Trump borrowing a little bit more money. There's treasury bill auctions today. There's been treasury bills auctions the whole week, and I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen any major moves. But today's the big one, the 30-year, right? The 30-year allows them to borrow money and pay it off way later down the line, which is something that Trump has been wanting to do, and I know Scott Bessent has been trying to do it as well. They're trying to push the debt to the end side of the interest rate tail. So pay as far as away as possible to kind of reduce the current constraints that we're seeing in the markets today. But yeah, I mean, could we see some now aggressive rhetoric from Trump as he doesn't have to borrow any more money at the end of this week? We could. I mean, we're heading into earnings seasons next week, and this is one of the reasons I think, like, you know, taking a little bit of money off the table and potentially reshuffling as we start understanding how companies are actually behaving in this environment. But we're barely seeing any impacts of the tariffs, right? The market seems to be handling them well. They keep getting pushed, right? We're not seeing the real effect of 50% tariffs. We're seeing potentially risk of maybe 10 to 12% tariffs, right? And I don't think it's going to be a big deal. It's just a little bit of a tax, you know, and it allows like national consumers to step in, right? So those are my 2 cents on that. Again, take whatever I say with a grain of salt. I'm just some random guy on the internet. I do share every single one of my trades, so make sure you check out my Etoro portfolio down below. But yeah, one of the interesting things I wanted to show you guys was the S&P 500 chart, but looking at the 1 week performance. So here, I showed you at the beginning, but this is the 1 week performance that we're seeing. And we're seeing that there's money coming away from like what we consider safety trades or recession trades into like risk on trades, right? So we're seeing even Boeing is coming up, Meta, NVIDIA, microchips are finding a footing. All of this kind of tells you, okay, like whenever we're going into risk on sentiment, where is the money migrating to? And the money currently is migrating to, you know, the companies that have worked, right? Like the companies that are actually making insane revenue growth. And it seems right now revenue growth is where the safety's at, right? And most of the Walmarts, the Costco's have stayed steady this week. So even if we go to the month, you know, we see that we're migrating, we're going back to risk on sentiment. And I'm kind of surprised because yesterday or the day before, we saw JP Morgan, Bank of America, and most of the American banks come down a little bit because of a report, a downgrade of the banking sector by HSBC. That was a very interesting one. I don't think it's going to materialize yet. I mean, the American banks are definitely strong, and I just don't think that the tariffs are going to be affecting them as much. That could all change, right? But so far, we're going to see what they have to say in the earnings, and I think the earnings are going to be stellar, right? So something to pay attention to as well. But yeah, crypto markets, I mentioned them already. And yeah, a couple of the things I wanted to talk about. One of the things I want to talk about, if you can see here in the last month, we've seen NVIDIA go 15%. I think year to date, it's that performance. So we have seen, year to date, we're sitting at 22% on NVIDIA. So most of those gains have been coming in the last month, right? So very, very interesting. We see Tesla 25% down. We see Google 7% down. We see Amazon down, and we see Apple down. Now, Apple, I believe that they deserve it. I mean, Apple has not innovated and has not taken a lead in anything. Okay, I will tell you. I will tell you why. I will tell you why. And it's I think it's just market dynamics, right? Like I think market makers and market dynamics. I have a couple of things to show you on it, but I'll for sure. I'll talk about it on what's on my desk for sure. So it's coming up. So yeah, some of the things that I'm seeing here is just this, right? It's just we are seeing the companies that were leading the rallies in the past, the Mac 7, become the Mac 3 probably. And there is a little bit of scare here, right? Like banking is outperforming these companies, and I think it's unwarranted. I really think it's unwarranted. But now going to what's on my desk to kind of please the audiences, for you guys. But just to kind of tell you why I'm selling NVIDIA and I'm looking at NVIDIA. Like I'll talk about it because it's my biggest position in my Etoro portfolio. I'll let you guys. I'll tell you what I think free of charge. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. But my NVIDIA trade right now, it's interesting because I'm sitting at all-time highs, right? And the problem was that I entered NVIDIA with NVDL. So I entered NVIDIA with a lot of leverage. Whenever we saw that massive dip in April, was it? I want to say in April, right? So let's go to the chart, right? So we saw the massive dip in April, right? This was April 4th, right? So we saw the massive dip in April, and I had to make like sort of like tax thing. So I had to sell some of my NVIDIA position and go into like leverage. So I went into NVDL, which is a 2x leverage on NVIDIA. Now, that position has grown massively. I'll show you an NVDL chart here. Now, if you don't understand leverage, don't get into it. And I'm sort of like super against leverage. But in this case, I just went in, right? It was a way to kind of like play the taxes. And yeah, we saw massive growth. I mean, we saw NVIDIA touch like NVDL touch 30 all the way to 76. So I'm up 100% almost on that trade. And I just want to take a little bit off the table because I think that every time we see NVIDIA reach all-time highs, we see it correct a little bit. Every single time we correct, we come down, right? And I don't think this time it's going to be any different, right? Because we're heading into earnings season, and the market dynamics, what is it the market dynamics tells me? It tells me that we're going to get amazing earnings from many different companies, and the money has to go from somewhere, right? And where are you going to take it out? From the companies that are winners, right? So NVIDIA is going to see some sort of correction. Now, could we see it continue to go higher? For sure. That's why I'm not selling all of my position, but I'm selling some. So I'm starting to trim back my position. I think my NVDL position, I've trimmed back around 33% of my position just because it has grown so much, right? So the position was just massive, and it's pretty much just like I need to rebalance my portfolio because I'm not comfortable with the risk that it would take, right? But yeah, I mean, every single time we touch all-time highs, bam, we come back and retest. We touch all-time highs, we come back and we retest. And I don't think we're gonna get this. But again, Trump is sitting in a position of power. I don't think that he's scared of making threats and making the market come down a little bit. I mean, the S&P 500 is sitting at all-time highs, and he told everybody when to buy. So he's like the insider trader president and allowing everybody else to join as long as you follow him on Truth Social. So right now it's that, right? NVIDIA right now it's a conservative trade, right? I still believe my long-term thesis on NVIDIA. I think that they are the competitor, like they are the whole AI chip market right now, and I don't think that they have competition just yet. Like the closest competition I would say is probably Google. And I'll explain why in a second, is because I believe Google is the second biggest producer of chips out of every single other manufacturer, but they actually just end up buying the chips to themselves, so they don't actually sell them to the markets, which is a very interesting thing, but I'll talk about that when I talk about Google. But NVIDIA, yeah, I mean, right now I'm sitting at all-time highs. I'm sitting pretty, right? And I don't want to see the volatility come and take me down all the way to 50% when I can just take a little bit of money off the table and then just re-enter back, right? And when you enter with leverage, there's as I researched yesterday, it's called the volatility drag. So whenever you see major drops, you don't want to be in leverage. You want to stay away from it, right? So that's where I'm at right now. My NVIDIA position on my Etoro portfolio, I've like come down a little bit. I'm planning to sell some, as I think we could reach probably like 170, 180 in the next couple of days as the FOMO starts setting in. But we're seeing that decline in volume, and I just don't like it, right? Like most of the indicators are telling me that we are sitting in a sort of, like maybe the MACD is kind of like neutral, right? But we're sitting the RSI starting to head right? Could we see the stock pump again? Sure. You know what I mean? But it's all about Trump. It's all about Trump in this case. So I'm trying to stay away a little bit. You know, I'm still in it. I'm still in it for the long term. My thesis has not changed, but I definitely have to pay attention to that. Definitely got to pay attention to that. Another company that I'm paying attention to right now, which is a short squeeze candidate for like a short-term trade, by the way. So, by the way, this is high risk trade. Don't pay attention to some just random guy on the internet. Make sure you do your own research. Check out my portfolio, see if you like it, see if you like my goals and objectives, and then follow that if you wish. But what I'm seeing is RKT. RKT is rocket companies, and the interesting thing here has to do with the short float, short interest of the company, and how it's been punished to a pulp. And we've seen somewhat a footing, volume is starting to come up. There's like increased interest in this company. And one of the things that really has me intrigued right now is that institutions have increased their position by 80%. Now, some of these numbers might not be accurate, so don't take this with a grain of salt, right? This is just my research. Make sure you do your own research and take inspiration from these. But what I think right now is just that this company is heavily shorted, you know, and when we start seeing cuts in interest rates and we start seeing like a hint, which we got from the Fed the other day, of interest rate cuts, this company could potentially boom, right? And the fact is that they're like we are I think it's like 11 days from getting that short position out of the market based on volume. So I just don't make, I think it's like 4 to 11 days depending on what you look, right? The labor data, I'll tell you. Let me finish here. Let me talk about the companies I want. Because I want, Joe, Akeem, I would love for you to have a look at this. Because I want to know, I know what your thoughts on this are. Because like it's looking pretty decent, right? Like the fundamentals of this company, like it's not making any profits, right? So you're kind of taking a gamble. But they've done okay. You know what I mean? Like they've done okay. And like, yeah, they've taken a hit with the current housing market. But housing market, even like mortgages are starting to come up. I think like there was a 9% increase on mortgage starts. So that was super interesting to pay attention to. And I just think we're very interesting levels right now, right? This company during 2020 was sitting around 30. Do I think we can get that? No, but we could potentially close that gap, right? Potentially sitting at 20 is not something that's unfathomable out of here, just because we've seen such negative sentiment on this stock, you know? But yeah, this is one that I'm paying very, very, very close. Oh, I didn't tell you about the NVIDIA options too, but yeah, I'll bring that in the deep end because like I'm not 100% sure of what I'm talking about. But all right, JP Morgan, interestingly enough, took a hit. They were sitting at all-time highs, and then a report from HSBC came out saying that the banking sector is not going to perform well. I disagree completely. I think the banking sector right now is extremely solid, and they are going to get deregulation coming up. So I just don't see this being like majorly extended. We're probably just going to touch the 20 moving like 20-day moving average, and we're just going to bounce up all the way, right? Earnings season is going to be interesting because we're coming in with negative sentiment. Stock was overbought. We're just coming back. It's just a normal correction. I'm not too worried, at least in here. And then Google. I freaking love Google, man. I don't know. I don't understand why Google is sitting at 19 and 17 forward Ps. I really don't. Now, growth is going to be affected for sure, right? Search is 56% of the revenue, which is going to get affected 100%. But I don't think this goes out of the question, right? Like I still Google. I still use Access, even though I'm a heavy user of AI and chatbots and all of that stuff. So I don't see how that how Google disappears, right? I don't see how Google disappears with the amount of data that they have and the amount of services that they offer, Gmail, their office products, OneDrive, the cloud, all of the services that they do, and the fact that they actually produce their own chips in-house for their cloud infrastructure. I just don't see them I see them really well positioned to take advantage of what's next. Every single AI big company or mega cap does not have to make it in AI because they have a revenue model that gives them money. Meta does with Facebook, with advertising. Microsoft has their office suites and cloud and all of that on the side. Amazon has their selling business, but Google is losing their big cash cow, which is going to make them act like a startup again. And Google as a startup, the way that what we saw in the last convention was fantastic. I felt chills like I felt when I saw the CGT the first time with Jensen. it was euphoric. It was like there is new things happening. There is actually change, right? With Jensen, we're getting the same story over and over again. We're just gonna sell more chips, and I believe him. You know what I mean? That's the beautiful part. I believe him, but we still haven't seen that ChatGPT moment 2.0 come in, or 3.0, because I guess like, come, and like we're not seeing the robo taxis. We're not seeing the robots, the humanoid robots come in, and we're not seeing that sort of like euphoria still coming into NVIDIA. And I think it's going to take a little bit more time than the market expects. So volatility's here, I'm happy to say. All right. I have no idea how long I'm going for it, because I have no idea. So, but let me just tell you. Okay, so now this is the deep end, or rumor mill, right? Labor market is fine. And I mean, I don't think, like, we are seeing some layoffs. We're starting to see some layoffs, but even if we go to the Fed, and this is where I'm going into research mode. I'm just going to chill for a bit, by the way. Let's have a look. We're going to unemployment data. Right, unemployment data usually, we're going to, the USA, right? Please tell me this, right? So this is very interesting, right? Unemployment peaks at the end of the recession, right? And right now we're not. I don't believe we're in a recession. I mean, we're seeing we're coming back to the mean, but I'm not seeing something major happening here. That's for sure. So, am I worried here? I mean, here, let me grab my camera and move it out of the way, because, right? If we go full screen, I could go here, bam. Right? Am I worried that unemployment is sitting at 4.2%? Not at all, So it's like, I just don't see the market freaking out about this, right? Like, right now there seems to be like a surge in productivity that just allows for people to just move jobs. The job openings are fantastic, right? America has nothing to worry about. Now, in the rest of the world, it's a different story. We are seeing unemployment rates kind of spike a little bit. We're seeing prices kind of people be affected, savings rates going up. The Americans are paying their credit cards. You know what I mean? So it's like, I just don't see the labor market spooking just yet. Could we see a spike as companies' margins start to get shrunk? Maybe, in the second half, but this is good for the Fed, right? I think the market will look past this. I could be 100% wrong on this, right? This is why this is the deep end, and this is rumors, and this is thoughts. But I just don't see it yet. You know what I mean? I just don't see. Maybe we see a little bit of a spike as we're migrating to new things. The labor force becomes a little bit more productive, but it's very hard to make change. It takes time, right? And even with AI, I think it's gonna take longer than we think for AI to take over everybody's jobs. Just my 2 cents on that, But I've seen a couple, like the consumer is getting hurt. The lower end consumer is hurting right now. Stock markets are sitting at all-time highs, and people can't get enough food on their tables. It's kind of sucky, you know what I mean? It's kind of sucky, but part of the game. So I'm paying very close attention to the data, but the Fed has not seen anything major. I think the Fed is doing the right thing. I'm kind of sitting in the camp of, don't cut until we see something major break, because you don't need to affect the economy right now. The economy could be doing a lot better if you put interest rates low, but I think we got so accustomed to cheap money that there are companies that are struggling right now. But the reality is that cheap money shouldn't happen, right? Like, we're sitting at 4%. For every $1 million, you have to pay $50K a year. What are we talking about here, right? Like, it's that's like in the long end of the curve, but at the short end, 40K, nothing, right? So it's like, like risk assets are gonna outperform right now, because it's just, I think we're sitting at at the right levels, right? And I just don't think that money needs to leave the safety of bonds in order to be productive, right? I think productivity is great. Like, GDP has not come down as many people expected. We're not seeing the crazy recession that everybody was calling. We're not seeing the rampant inflation that everybody was calling. There's no need. There's just no need to be making shift changes, right? Like, get the tariff deals done so we can understand what the impacts are really gonna be for the American economy and the American consumer, and the Fed can act. But until the end of this year, like, if nothing major happens, and if we go to the Fed watch tool too, right? If we go here, I mean, Like we're 20 days away from the July meeting and we're sitting at 93. This was sitting at almost 30% at some points or another, right? So, and we're getting the probabilities and we're saying, okay, how many cuts by the end of the year? We're saying 2 cuts by the end of the year. Like if we get 1 cut, right? Like at 1 cut is not, it's insignificant, right? Like it's so small and we're not going to see the major impacts on this until later down the line. Right. So it's like, why are we wanting to cut right now? If productivity is great, we are seeing production, we are seeing manufacturing. Yeah, the consumer is getting hurt, but hey, right? It's the tariffs, it's the uncertainty, it's what's happening. It's people are looking to save, people don't know what's going to happen. So all of this uncertainty is causing more issues than the actual data itself or what the Fed is doing. I just don't think like, right. And the Fed can cut really quickly if we need to. I just don't see the major impacts that people are calling for. I just don't. I think Trump is right, but I don't think we need to cut. It's my 2 cents. I know it's against the grain, you know, but it's like if we look at interest rates, right? It's like if we go to interest rates, it's like where are we, right? It's like we are like if we average if we mean this, bam, we're sitting what probably somewhere nice. You know what I mean? Like yeah, we're restrictive, but I think that there was a lot of printing, and we're continue to print. Look at the M2. You know what I mean? Like even money supply is not coming down. I want to say it's that one, but I'm probably wrong. Look at M2, it's still coming up. Look at money supply. There's no need to cut. There's no need to cut. No need to cut yet. We just got accustomed to cheap money and people just want more and more and more spending. We don't even know if these things are going to pan out. That simple. What else do I have to talk about? Anything else you guys want me to talk about? I have no idea how long I've gone for. Oh, almost 30 minutes. That's cool. I stick pretty good. Oh, man. Aga, Akeem, you guys are sweethearts. Thanks so much for joining. I appreciate you very, very much for your questions. And if you have any other questions, just put them in the comments. I'll make sure to read them and answer them. Again, the reason we do this is to get the conversation started. And if you get any trading ideas, make sure you share them with us because we are going to share them with you. And we are hoping that you tell us why we are wrong so we can not lose money or hopefully make even more. But again, it's not financial advice. So, man. Yeah, money velocity. Let's have a look. Let's look at money velocity here. Bam. Okay, maybe this, but it's even coming up again, right? So it's like, I don't know. Like it's gonna be a boring story. It's gonna be a boring story, but it's gonna be the Mag 7, right? Is the Mag 7 right now are beautifully placed to take advantage of the current market. I think oil, like from today, I think oil is overpunished. Like I don't think we're gonna see the decline in productivity that everybody's talking about. So energy is probably gonna outperform. Banks are probably gonna outperform if we don't see any rate cuts, because then they get like both ends of the stick, which is kind of nice. Software, I think software, like I still call it, right? Like I've been wrong in calling this year the year of AI, right? But it's been the year of chips again, right? Like NVIDIA was last year and it came back again, right? We just saw NVIDIA do nothing for so long, but it was just what, like price discovery. We're trying to figure out what the price of NVIDIA could be. Oh yeah, like freaking yeah. So yeah, I mean right now it's what, software probably. We're gonna go into what, like, and right now it's like AI software. It's AI software, energy. AI software, energy. If we get the cuts, real estate, right? But energy could perform really well, and then the banking sector is going to perform, and nothing major happens. Diamond Property Group is S&P Global. Okay, I was going to say, you know what I mean? It's no worries. I'll share whatever I have. You know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out what's the best way. By the way, what do you think of the new camera? It's my sister's camera, so I don't know how long I have it for. But I'm trying new things out. Because when I'm alone, I can do crazy things. You know what I mean? But yeah. Man. We'll see how the edited video comes out. It's going to be a fun. But yeah, I don't know. Right now, it's like communication services. Like I think Google is gonna outperform for the rest of the year. I think cloud revenue is gonna start picking up massively, and then search is gonna come down. And I don't think it's gonna come down as fast as people really think, because like they're gonna figure it out. Google's gonna figure it out, and then they're gonna figure out a way. Like even if you go to Google now, like I'm in the UK, so we probably don't have, right, but it's feeling artistic, right? So it's like, right, and then you're just getting this, like, you know, it's like you're getting the AI overview. What do you think, that they're not gonna monetize this and this? I get like freaking money that like it's like right, like it's like the top people is what. Oh wait, huh? Right? It's like, are they not gonna monetize this? Right? Like this one and this one here, where it's like, oh, these are the two things we used, and then like here, kind of like come down, and it's like have some other things here. Like Google has been so minimalistic that they're able to do whatever they want, and I just think that they will win. They will win. I saw something that I haven't seen Copilot do that made me shift sentiment, and it was the fact that I could tell Gemini, send them a picture of basically what my things were, and it was able to understand it and put it in my calendar. Every single Sunday I sit down and I spend an hour to 2 hours looking at what's coming in the market, right? And Gemini did that like that. I can't go to my email on Outlook and get a thing added to my calendar because the connectivity between apps in Microsoft sucks. It sucks. The only thing that works is it's Excel. Everything else is trash. Personal opinion. Do I think that they're gonna? No, because every single Office suite is Microsoft. They build that infrastructure, right? But what's they gonna do? Yeah. Next week, big week. Make sure you let me know what earnings you want me to do. We have ASML to have an idea of what European chips are doing. Dimitris always says if ASML was an American company, it would be worth 10 times what it's worth right now. JP Morgan, we have on Tuesday. I think it's going to be a fantastic trade. We have Wells Fargo, Citi, Bank of America. The big banks are having earnings, which is something to pay attention to because the banks always tell you the truth. We have Netflix, Interactive, Amex, all of the big names. I mean, like even I don't like Netflix, but that's a fight for another day. The airlines we're gonna see, so it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens. Even Boeing might surprise. Even Boeing might surprise. Even like I was looking at, it's freaking nuts. I was looking at a Boeing, and it's like if we look at the earnings, we look at Boeing, they surprised last earnings. And then Mara too. I don't know, names I'm throwing out there. Do research. Share it with me in the comments on this video. Let me know what I'm not getting. Because yes, let me know what companies you want me to look at. Because I love looking at ideas. But yeah, like look, like they beat, and like they've just done like a crazy recovery. It was such an easy trade. Like Boeing ain't gonna disappear. Legally they can't. America cannot America cannot allow for Boeing to disappear. They continue to sell like planes in the trade deals, right? It's like Vietnam, China wants Boeing. You know who owns Boeing? Freaking like Trump. Trump owns that company and selling it out, but he's doing so well, right? Since their downturn, they're doing fantastic. They beat earnings one time. They're probably gonna beat earnings again, right? There's like sales that are happening, so yeah. By the way, these are rumors. Don't pay attention to what I say. I probably don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm likely do because I'm making money. And congratulations to all NVIDIA shareholders. You guys are fantastic. We have made it. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that like. Well, no, I don't know. I should come up with a line. I wonder. Here are the market buzz, or here are the rumors first. Here are market buzz. Could be. Could be. Oh, it's so hot. It's so hot. I'm happy that it's hot because I'm from Venezuela, but man. Thanks everybody so much for watching. I appreciate you all. Peace out. It looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I like how it looks. I like how it looks. All right. Thanks so much for watching, people. My peeps. Any ideas? Put them in the comments. Tag me on Etoro. Make sure you do that too. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Peace out.